We've had the BLAZAR REMUS 1.5x anamorphic lenses for a while now, and we've spent enough time with them to say that we think that they're the most exciting budget anamorphic lenses we've seen so far, and we really hope that they set a precedent for other manufacturers to explore a more visually interesting, characterful lens design. BLAZAR are selling this lighter and cheaper 1.5x anamorphic set with 3 of the focal lengths available in a kit right from the start. You can buy them individually, but we do think it's a great option to buy them all at once, especially given the lower price point and the fact that you get a nice little hard shell case for them. The case also comes with a place for the 4th lens in the set, the 35mm. Moving on to build quality, it's really solid here, and the lenses feel great in hand. They also have a retro silver look to them, which is cool, although I have to admit that I've been temporarily blinded a few times when opening the lens case on sunny days. Focus resistance is good and quite consistent across the set, although focus rotation is a little bit short at 150 degrees. But we don't think that most folks shopping for smaller lenses in this price range are going to mind. Many may even prefer it. They have 80mm fronts and 77mm front filter threads, which makes shopping for diopters fairly easy. Speaking of diopters, minimum focus across the board is better than average for anamorphic lenses, but still not amazing. You're looking at around 70 centimeters across the set as your minimum, so you should consider throwing some diopters in your shopping cart if you haven't already. They come in EF or PL mounts, and the mounts are interchangeable, and the swapping process is pretty simple, which is good, because you will likely be taking the mount off at least once to check your shimming. This is because every camera mount is slightly different, and unlike spherical lenses, correcting shimming on anamorphics can be crucial for achieving critical focus. When we got these lenses, we noticed that most of them were pretty sharp. The 65 in the amber set was quite soft, however, and so was the 100mm in the blue set. So we did try to shim them using the tutorial that BLAZAR had on their Facebook group, but we found it quite visually frustrating, so we took them to a lens projector. The lenses are a lot sharper and more consistent throughout the set. Obviously, this does show that there is going to be some variation from set to set. There's no guarantee that any one lens is going to be soft or sharp. We highly recommend that you take them to a lens projector if you can find one. We can confirm that these lenses do work with EF mount speed boosters. We've tried the Viltrox locking Pro version of their speed booster for the Red Komodo. We've tried Metabone's E-mount Sony speed booster, and they've been fine so far. We wish that we could try a PL mount speed booster, but unfortunately we don't have access to one at the minute. They have also worked perfectly with every other mount adapter that we've tried, including things with variable NDs inside like the Mofage or the Mikey variable ND adapters, both the EF and PL mount versions. Now let's start talking about the optics. These have a constant 1.5x squeeze across the entire focus range, which is great when using 16:9 cameras. They do have some focus breathing, and the 45mm and 65mm are T2, while the 100mm is T2.8, and the new 35 is 1.6. The set comes with blue or amber flares, with neutral coming soon, although we will say that even with the amber and blue sets, we've noticed that they do take on a lot of the saturation of the light source that you use, but the new neutral flaring option does still look the most natural, and we are the most excited for it. And we have found that they do flare easier than the older Greatjoy set that I have, and something that many will find a pro or a con. This is something that we both really liked about the old set, but using a matte box with side flags with the new lenses can help control this if you're worried. Something to consider here is that the 1.5x stretch doesn't have as much compression as stronger squeeze ratios. You won't see as much of that typical anamorphic waterfall bokeh in the backgrounds, but you can still see it, and we do have to remember that there's more to the anamorphic look than squeeze ratio alone. All of these lenses have funky character and barrel distortion, which does a lot of heavy lifting and helps deliver a look more similar to lenses with stronger anamorphic squeeze, which is good. In terms of character, the first thing that I'll say is that for the money, these look gorgeous. The only downside is that they're not the sharpest anamorphic lenses that I've used, even compared to vintage anamorphics. It's nice to have the option to shoot wide open with these, and they are quite fast, but we did find shooting a T2.8 or slower does get a bit more bite out of the set, and in post you can always sharpen faces a tiny bit more if you do want to. Taylor was fortunate enough to be able to do a quick comparison between the BLAZARs and the Atlas Mercuries. The Mercuries were a lot sharper, hands down, but in terms of character, you get a lot of the look for a fraction of the cost, and we do think that speaks volumes for their value. I personally enjoy some barrel distortion and radial blurring on the corners of anamorphic lenses, but I do have to say that I think the BLAZARs may have a little bit too much going on when shooting on a full-frame camera to suit every project, which is actually a good thing. It's nice to have an interesting set of lenses to grab for interesting projects that want a little bit more fun. And if you shoot Super 35, we actually feel these lenses look and play really nicely, because the center of the frame is a lot more controlled than the edges, and the faster apertures still give you a lot of bokeh to play with. In summary, these lenses are extremely affordable and come with industry-standard lens mounts out of the box. They have very interesting character and may even have the most interesting budget anamorphic look on the market. In our opinion, you're getting close to the Atlas Mercury look, but for far less money. That about does it here for us. I'm very curious to see what's up next now that BLAZAR have cracked open the box of possibilities for more interesting looking budget anamorphic lenses. What would you like to see next? We'll leave a link down in the description to where you can buy yourself a set of these lenses, as well as links to our socials if you want to follow us. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.